Today we've got a DW collector's kit from the early 2000s in a tobacco burst satin finish. The sizes are 9x13, 16x16, and a 17x22 inch bass drum. We'll get more into this later, but the most interesting thing about this kit is that the toms are birch toms and the bass drum is an all maple bass drum. Also set up on our kit today are some Paiste 2002 Big Beat cymbals. Got an 18-inch crash, 22-inch ride, and 15-inch hats. And rounding out our setup today is the snare that I first demoed in my early days on YouTube back in 2012. You've gotten taller, Internet. It is a 6.5x14 DW Collector Series smooth finish solid copper snare drum. We thought it would be fun to put a face behind the kit, so to speak, so today the person who has owned the kit since the early 2000s, Columbus percussion teacher Jeff Peters, is helping demo the kit and is also talking about and telling some stories about the gigs and places that the kit has seen. Enjoy! Putting a face behind the kit, we have our good friend and teacher here at the store, Jeff Peters. Jeff, thanks for helping us out.
Glad to be here, talking to you about my favorite subject.
Drums.
Yes.
All right, so tell us about your kit, your DW kit. We're helping you sell it, so there's got to be some stories behind this thing.
Yeah, I've got it here in roughly 2005, and it's been on the road across the country, a couple famous places, and it really served me well. And comes a time, I think it's time to put it in somebody else's hands and let them see what they can do with it. But I have a lot of drums, so I'm kind of cleaning house a little bit. So
right
it's hard though. It's hard to put them up. There's always a little sting there.
This is an interesting DW collector's kit specifically because they were experimenting with different woods for toms versus bass drum.
Yes, correct. It was kind of a thing back then to combine birch tom-toms with maple bass drums. Birch has a nice punch to it, and it sounded good to me, and I went for it, tried combinations of heads, and got them tuned up, and they really sound good. And the bass drum is a 17x22, a lot of tone there, a lot of spread, and 13/16 birch, but the shells are still thin, so they have nice tone also. Great drum set.
Yeah. You were playing all over the country and here in Columbus specifically too?
Globally, yes. Yeah.
And what groups were you playing with?
The Paradise Island Band, locally, Sirens, the John Lee White Band locally and on the road. In fact, these drums were with her at the famous Bluebird Cafe in Nashville.
Mm.
Did a set there one night, and they're still in great shape. The finish is great.
Yeah, what is this finish called?
This is called Tobacco Burst. It's one of their satin finishes, and it's a great fade. And when you get some stage lights, that center section there, the red, really comes out of those drums, and they're just beautiful on stage.
Yeah, they look great.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of gigs here in town with local cover bands,
Yep.
and you guys very often play. What's a big deal here in Columbus is the Ohio State pregame shows down at the Horseshoe Stadium.
Yes. Yeah, that's a fun gig.
It's fun.
These drums have seen that show, and that's a big stage. And you know, you get on stage with a set like this, and you know they're not going to get lost. So perfect set for a bigger stage, and you know, some good old rock and roll.
Yeah. One of your favorite gigs you played on this kit?
Probably with the regonomics on those gigs. Those are always fun. I've enjoyed a lot of gigs with sirens on these drums up at Natalie's Coal-Fired Pizza. And with Paradise Island Band, a lot of private stuff, a lot of corporate parties, and again, some bigger stages.
Jeff is one of our staff teachers here at the store, so if you're interested in lessons, be sure to check out the video for our lesson program here at the store. We'll have a link to that in the description below. Gives you more information, some ideas of what to expect when you're taking lessons here at Columbus Percussion. And like I said, Jeff's one of those teachers. What's your approach when somebody first comes say, I want to learn the drums?
Yeah, you get the stick in the hand the right way.
Yep.
You get your hand working for you. Try to eliminate any bad habits, anything that's going to make the body work harder than it has to. Stay really relaxed. Use your fingers and wrists. Get a relaxed grip going, and start out with right and lefts on the pad, and a beginning reading book so that you can speak the language of notes. And that's a good couple of months to 6 months.
Yep.
And then once the hands are working well without having to think about it too much, and you've got a good understanding of note values and you can speak the language, then we start to spread it out onto the drum set and work on independence. Right hand playing a figure when your right foot is playing in between those notes.
Yep.
And that takes a little bit of, you know, thinking, separation, and repetition.
The lifelong battle of independence.
Yeah. Still working on it myself.
Yeah. How long have you been teaching?
Boy, this is going to date me. I started working here at the store at the old location in '87. And it was about a year later when Jim said, you should probably be teaching. And I said, great, love to. So '88, late in the year, since 1988. Yeah.
Teaching drums ever since?
Yep, teaching and playing gigs.
Great, great.
Very fortunate.
What's one of your favorite things to teach, or favorite things that a student comes to you with to work on?
Working on songs when they've had lessons for a little while and they're at the point where they want to learn, start putting their technique to music and making music out of all that math that you do to read the notes and the technique that you build up. It's finally time to make music out of it.
And grab the influence from the music that you're hearing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'll just ask them to start bringing me some of their favorite songs, and let's start figuring these songs out. And they put headphones on, they play along with them, and then we get into things without drum tracks, recordings without drum tracks, and they can play right along. And great way to learn.
What are your top 3 practice tips?
The hardest thing is getting started. So you have to kind of push everything out, go to your drum room or your bedroom or whatever works, and focus. Again, the hardest thing is to get started, so get the sticks in your hands, start to warm up, get your book out, and be patient and just put your time in. That's a big one for me. And I'm a big one on technique because I hate to see wasted motion, and if a student is holding their arms up, wasting energy. You know, I get them back down and relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
And that technique goes into the pedals and the way you actually even sit on your seat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a big one there. And then just being musical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not overplaying and playing for the song. Give the song what it should have, and you know, you play some tasty stuff when you have the right moment to do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're supporting the song.
There's a time when you can show off some chops, but
Yeah.
most of the time you're going to need to be musical.
Yes, very much so.
Excellent. Well, Jeff, we're happy to help you with this kit. We're happy to have you here teaching at the store. If you are interested in taking lessons with Jeff or any of our other great teachers here at Columbus Percussion, give us a call. Check out the lesson page on our website and the video, like I mentioned before. If you like this video, be sure to hit like and subscribe so you get notified every time something cool comes into our drum store. 17 by 22.
17, yeah, the extra power bass drum. But you guys know me, I enjoy buying drums.